All right, we are going on a field trip. We are taking a tour today of the Southwest. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, team. This is a fascinating field trip, and I really encourage you to take some time as you have the link to go through this, to do it on your own. There are some really cool pins you can drop in and absolutely exciting things that you can see on our tour of the Southwest. We launch here in Monument Valley. The Southwest is home to a large number of American Indians, more than in any other region of the country. Many American Indians live and work on reservations. Others live in towns and cities. Movie makers love this valley for its setting. Many Western movies and television commercials are filmed here. Look closely at this landscape. Do you see those flat-topped hills? They are called mesas. Notice how bare the mesas are? Not enough rain falls in Monument Valley for forests to grow. Much of the Southwest is desert. A desert gets less than 10 inches of rain a year. Over time, plants, animals, and people have all adapted to living in this dry land. To adapt means to change or to survive. The Navajos, for example, learned how to grow corn and raise sheep, even with little rainfall. As we move on, look for other ways that people have adapted to living in the desert. Just as a reminder, anytime you see one of these cameras, you can click on that camera and it'll show you a picture of that location. So if I click on this butte, it'll pop up right here and I can see it here. I can click on the airplane and I will fly to that location and get some more information. And again, down in your right-hand corner, in your bottom right hand, if I click the compass, it'll orientate my camera so I'm facing north. So now I know that this way is north. And then also, obviously, you can switch from two-dimensional view to 3D. We are in 3D right now, and that's why you can see part of the landscape of this Southwest tour in the Monument Valley. And then, of course, what is just fascinating is when you can grab the character, the street view person, and then find those blue dots and drop in to those blue dots and get a first-person point of view of these locations. And so, again, I really want you to consider and take some time and look at some of these landscapes because it is really cool. All right, so let's move on from Monument Valley and you will be able to explore on your own later. The next stop on our tour from Monument Valley is to Phoenix, Arizona. This is Phoenix, Arizona, America's hottest large city. During July, temperatures here can soar to 121 degrees Fahrenheit. 100 years ago, Phoenix was a small town. Not many people wanted to move to Arizona. In those days, folks said that it was too hot, dry, and lonely here. What are called the 3 A's changed their mind. The first A was air conditioners. These machines used electricity to cool the air in a room. Air conditioning allows people to live in comfort no matter how hot the day is. The second A was aqueducts. An aqueduct is a large pipe or canal that moves water over a long distance. Aqueducts are used in the Southwest to move water from lakes and rivers to farms and cities. Aqueducts make it possible to have green lawns in Phoenix. The third A was automobiles. Travel in the Southwest used to be hard and even dangerous. A traveler stuck in the desert could die of thirst. Cars, along with good roads, made travel safer and easier. People began to come to Phoenix area as tourists. Some liked the hot, dry so much that they came back here to live. Since 1940, Phoenix has grown at an amazing rate. If you notice, just looking at this map, team, you can see it's really interesting. Yeah, you get all these green patches out here. You get this brown and green here. You can see that there is water, a body of water here. And so, yeah, the question is how is that water getting to the cities and getting to these areas to make these big green patches in this desert? You are looking at one of America's greatest manufactured structures, Hoover Dam. A dam is a wall built across a river to stop the water from flowing. Hoover Dam was built for two main reasons. The first reason was to control flooding on the Colorado River. The dam slows the rush of water down the river during flood times. The second reason was to store water. Water stored behind the Hoover Dam flows through aqueducts to farms and cities. Hoover Dam was built more than 70 years ago. At that time, nobody had ever built such a huge dam. Many people said it couldn't be done. Some people said the Colorado River could never be stopped long enough to build a dam. Other people did not think a dam could be made strong enough to hold back so much water. There is enough concrete in the dam to pave a road from California to New York. The lake behind the dam holds enough water to flood the entire state of Pennsylvania with 1 foot of water. That's a lot of concrete holding back a lot of water. Again, team, as you explore, I really, really, really encourage you to grab a pin and drop yourself in to any of these spots and have a look at it from a 360-degree virtual reality view of what it's like with this massive structure. Absolutely massive. Next up, we even get bigger, and we are off to the Grand Canyon. You are looking into the Grand Canyon. This is the most famous natural feature in the United States. A canyon is a deep, narrow valley with steep sides. There are many canyons in the Southwest, but this one is the grandest of them all. The Grand Canyon is about 277 miles long and 1 mile deep. It's so deep that the canyon's top and bottom have different weather. It can be cold up here on the top and hot down below. It is so deep that when you stand on the rim, you can sometimes see eagles flying below you. The American Indian tribe known as the Havasupais lived in the bottom of the Grand Canyon. According to the Havasupai legend, the canyon was formed when a flood covered the world. To end the flood, a god dug a hole in the earth. The floodwater rushed down the hole, carving out the Grand Canyon as it went. Scientists tell a different story. They say the Grand Canyon began to form anywhere from 6 to 17 million years ago. It has been carved slowly out of the earth by water and wind. The Grand Canyon is still growing today, even while you are here looking at it. There is a lot of adventuring to be had here, just even in Google Earth, where you can move yourself around the map, move down into the canyon, and experience the vastness of this natural landscape as you continue to zoom in and move around. So again, I really encourage you to take some time and adventure a little bit with this digital platform, this digital tool. All right, moving on. We come over here to Carlsbad Caverns National Park. At most national parks, the big attractions are found above the ground. Not here at Carlsbad Caverns National Park in New Mexico. The show takes place underground. About 100 caves and caverns lie beneath this park. A cave is a natural hole found in the earth. A cavern is a large cave. According to local legend, some cowboys, including one man named Jim White, found Carlsbad Caverns. One evening, they saw what looked like a plume of smoke rising into the sky. That plume of smoke turned out to be a big cloud of bats flying out of the cave entrance. A bat looks like a mouse with wings. Hundreds of thousands of bats sleep in the caverns during the day. At night, the bats leave in a great whirring cloud to hunt for food. If you come to the entrance at sunset, you may even see them take flight. It is a pretty sight. More than 500,000 visitors tour Carlsbad Caverns each year. One of the most popular stops is a huge chamber known as the Big Room. The Big Room is about 25 stories high and a third of a mile wide. It could hold 6 football fields and still have space left over. Now, team, if you click to search, on Carlsbad Caverns just in Google Earth, the national park actually has a tour, a 3-dimensional tour that you can take inside of this Carlsbad Caverns caves. Using Google Earth, there's actually a tour you can take in order to have a better view of what this space and this environment looks like. So again, using Google Earth, there is just so much that we can explore, learn, and understand about the world around us, even when we're working on it all from our own computer screen. El Paso and Ciudad Juarez, 2 cities, 2 countries, 1 border. We are at the border between the United States and Mexico. A border is a line that people agree on as a boundary to separate 2 places. The border between the United States and Mexico is a river called the Rio Grande. The Rio Grande separates 2 countries. It also divides 2 busy cities. El Paso, Texas, an American city, lies north of the border. Ciudad Juarez, a Mexican city, lies south of the border. 40 years ago, El Paso and Juarez were sleepy little border towns. There weren't many people or trucks here then. Today, a total of about 2 million people live in the 2 cities, and the area is crawling with trucks. The reason for this change is simple. American businesses have built hundreds of factories in Juarez. Americans build the factories across the border because Mexican workers will work for much lower pay than American workers. This reduces the cost of doing business. These factories, called maquiladoras, assemble all kinds of goods. The goods are then trucked across the border for sale in the United States. Many Mexicans move close to the border to the maquiladora jobs. San Antonio, Texas, home of the Alamo. Welcome to San Antonio, Texas. San Antonio is a city famous for its Spanish missions. A mission is a Spanish settlement where priests once taught American Indians the Christian religion. San Antonio's missions were built in the early 1700s. At that time, Texas was a colony of Spain. Later on, Texas became a part of Mexico. The Alamo is San Antonio's most famous mission. More than 2.5 million people visit the Alamo every year. They come to see where a small band of men fought and died so that Texas might be free. In 1836, Americans living in Texas declared their independence from Mexican rule. A Mexican general named Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna led 2,000 troops to Texas to crush this rebellion. A rebellion is an armed fight against one's government. A band of 188 Texas freedom fighters gathered at the Alamo. Their goal was to stop the Mexican army there. Instead, the Mexican forces captured the mission and killed every one of its defenders. News of the killings at the Alamo outraged Americans. Hundreds picked up their guns and headed to Texas to join the rebellion. Their battle cry was, "Remember the Alamo!" Texas won its independence from Mexico in 1836. For 9 years, Texas was a nation. Then, in 1845, Texas joined the United States as the 28th state. Austin, the capital of Texas. This is Austin, the capital of Texas. A capital is a city where the government of a country or state is located. The government of Texas is located in Austin. Like our national government, state governments have 3 branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. The legislative branch is the state legislature. The Texas legislature meets in the building you see here with the huge dome on the top. State legislators make laws for all the people in a state. Most of the traffic laws in each state are passed by the state legislature. As a truck driver, I have to know and obey these laws. State legislators decide how much people must pay in taxes to the state. They also decide how much that money will be spent. Truckers always want state legislatures to spend more money on improving the roads. The executive branch is headed by the state governor. It's the governor's job to make sure that all the laws passed by the state legislature are carried out. State courts make up the judicial branch. State courts judge people who are accused of breaking state laws. If a person is found guilty of breaking a law, the courts decide how that person should be punished. And the last stop on our tour is Guthrie, Oklahoma, center of the land rush. Most of the Southwest was settled slowly over time. Guthrie, Oklahoma was settled in one day. For many years, the U.S. government kept Oklahoma closed to everyone but Native Americans. Then, in 1889, the government decided to open 2 million acres of land to new settlement. This area was to be given away in a one-day land rush. The first person to reach and claim a piece of land that day could keep it. On April 22, 1889, between 50,000 and 100,000 people gathered at the starting line for the land rush. Most were European Americans. Some were African Americans. Black or white, everyone wanted the same thing: free land. At noon, a bugler blew some notes on his horn. The rush was on. People raced off in wagons, on horses, and on foot. In a few hours, every inch of land was taken. Not everyone waited for the land rush to begin. Some settlers cheated and entered the area sooner than the government allowed. One of these Sooners was found tending a garden full of vegetables. Oklahoma's soil was so rich, he claimed, that the plants had all sprouted up that day. Guthrie, Oklahoma was born during the land rush. At noon, Guthrie wasn't much more than a patch of grass. 6 hours later, the town had a population of 10,000 people. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So we visited Monument Valley, Phoenix, the Hoover Dam, the Grand Canyon, Carlsbad Caverns National Park, El Paso and Ciudad Juarez, San Antonio and the Alamo, Austin, Texas, and Guthrie, Oklahoma. Again, team, I really encourage you to take some time, especially with some of these natural landscapes, Monument Valley, even the man-made Hoover Dam, the Grand Canyon, Carlsbad Caverns. Use those Google Earth features and investigate them as much as you feel like you have time for. It is really cool what you can find and see and experience on our field trips, even from the safety and comfort of your own home. Thanks for being here with me today, team. Enjoy the tour, enjoy this field trip. I can't wait for you to share more of your findings of your own explorations. Be an adventurer, be a critical thinker. Think about how all of these things come together to make the Southwest such a unique place. All right, later, everybody.